Some people think that it's enough to get a native English speaker to edit their work. Do you agree?
Well, you got to be careful with native speakers, ones that are like English majors or graduate students or recently graduated students. Some don't have enough publishing experience, especially in the sciences and in medicine. What these native English-speaking editors give you is what I call grammatically correct nonsense.
How can you say nonsense? Isn't that a little bit too harsh?
Yeah, it probably sounds a little harsh, and yeah, it is. But here's how it goes. Many authors don't have the confidence in their English, and they think that the original paper has very good English, and so they're afraid to change it. So they copy and paste one sentence from one paper, which has one kind of logic, and then they copy another sentence from another paper, which may have a different kind of logic, and then they copy another sentence from another paper, and oops, still another logic. When you put that all together, what do you get? What I call grammatically correct nonsense. That's what you get. So the everyday native English speaker doesn't understand this and does not ask. But he does correct the grammar. And then after he corrects it, what does he give you too? Grammatically correct nonsense. And this slows down the journal's response, slows it way down.
What do you mean by response? Why is the response important?
What I mean by response is turnaround time. The time it takes for a journal to reject or accept with revisions the paper that you have sent them. The sooner they respond, the sooner you're published. And grammatically correct nonsense, what we just talked about, poor presentation or illogical flow of ideas really slow down the journal's response because the editors and the peer reviewers have to spend too much time and effort.
Too much time and effort doing what?
Too much time and effort, one, to figure out what the author is trying to say, and two, to figure out how to tell the author what's wrong in a quick and simple way. If it were only grammar, they could explain it very easily, but it takes them too much time to explain presentation or too much time for logic and style, especially when they're trying to explain it to a non-native English speaker. Like most successful researchers and scholars, the peer reviewers are really busy and they don't have much time. And so what do?
What?
They postpone and postpone and postpone until they have time or until they feel like doing it. Meanwhile, the authors are waiting and waiting and waiting, not knowing what in the world is taking the journal so long.
Oh, that must be a torture, so painful.
Torture for sure for everyone. Also, many peer reviewers don't know how to explain the problem to the writers. So they just say improve the English or improve the language. And then the poor non-native English speakers think it's got to be something wrong with the grammar. And so they correct the grammar errors, but not the real problem. Then the revising process takes even longer.
Oh, a lot of things can happen in that time.
Yeah, sometimes things can change in the field too, and the paper becomes outdated. I remember when I was writing an introduction to show people how to write an introduction, I wrote an introduction for artificial sweeteners, and I chose one artificial sweetener that had been proven to be safe. Fast forward 3 months, when I'm about ready to give the presentation, a news article came out that this artificial sweetener was unhealthy, like all the other ones. So if that had been a real paper, I would not have been able to do it. A paper had already come out disproving its effectiveness. And that's where time could kill you.
James, can you tell us what journals really want?
What they want are flawless methods. That means very good scientific methods. Important findings. Presented the way they're usually presented, nothing creative, and expressed, as Einstein said, as simply as possible, but not simpler. So what do? You cut some more until it hurts. One famous writer, William Faulkner, he said, in writing, you must kill your darlings. What are darlings? Darlings are the things you love, that you've written before but are not really important to the manuscript. A good editor is usually much better at killing those darlings than the author.
I imagine in all these years working, you have accumulated a big amount of data on what the journals are looking for. Have you done anything with all this information?
Yes, I sure have. I've made records of a lot of things I learned editing papers over the last 30 years, and I've used these records to write conference papers. One paper I really liked was a paper about Taiwan writers' problems with writing the introductions to their papers. You know, I'm getting older, and I'd like to share this information with a lot more people. So I uploaded that talk, that conference paper, up onto my website. Anyone can go there and take a look at it.
Mm. Have you taught a class on how to write papers before?
Yeah, I've taught a lot of them. I taught at several universities in Taiwan, including Taida, Yangming University, and Kaohsiung Medical University, and in China at Beijing University, at the Department of Medicine even. In fact, I'm developing an online seminar right now. It's called Writing a Research Paper for Quick Journal Response.
Oh, that sounds interesting, especially to people who are writing and wanting to publish their papers. What will it cover?
It'll cover how to organize an introduction and how to glean information, take notes, and do a literature review. It'll teach how to write clear and graceful English sentences, including how to choose the best vocabulary for science, and how to write attractive titles and abstracts.
Great, that sounds very practical. I will leave your contact information and the links to your website below for those interested. Well, thanks, James. This has been a very interesting interview.
You're welcome.
And to everyone listening, thank you very much and see you next time.
Goodbye. See ya.